everyone, myself Supriya Konda, working as an assistant professor in civil department from Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. So today's class we are going to discuss system of the ventilation. These are the learning outcomes. At the end of this session, students will be able to impart the knowledge of the ventilation and the system of ventilation. So ventilation is defined as a process of removing or supplying the air by the natural or the mechanical means to and from a air source or any space. So actually ventilation is to remove the contaminated air which is infected due to the products of the combustion, or it may be due to the odors. So it has to be replaced by the fresh air. So the sufficient ventilation is to be supplied to a room. So as it may be due to the increase in the temperature or due to the air which is infected by and to remove the contaminated air which is infected by the bacteria, respiration, etc. So actually an unventilated room, it may lead to the discomfort to the living conditions of the people, and also that may be due to the increase in the dust amount, or it may be due to the increase in the excessive carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, etc. So next, whereas you can see a poor ventilation room, it may lead to the discomfort or the uncomfortable living conditions to the occupants who are actually using the building. So that may be due to the increase in the temperature limits which has to be maintained. So that may be also, it may cause lack of sweating and humidity, which may lead to the inattentiveness, and it may cause even the headache or the sleepiness. So sufficient ventilation has to be provided for the rooms. So even the ventilation which is needed for the breathing, other than that the fresh air which is needed to survive in the room itself, so that depends upon the outer conditions. So where exactly the building is located. So depending upon the outer conditions such as the concentration of the carbon dioxide and all, so the minimum quantity of the fresh air has to be supplied to any type of the building. So for this the ventilation system has to be taken into consideration. So the importance of the ventilation. So actually it prevents the undue concentration of the body odors, the fumes, dust and the other industrial products. And also it prevents the undue concentration of the bacteria carrying the particles. And it removes the products of the combustion, and in some cases it removes the body heat and the heat liberated by the operation of the electrical and the mechanical equipment. And actually there should be continuous air movement or air changes should take place in the building or in the room, as due to the working of the machines or anything there may be heat liberated, and that air has to be replaced. The air which is contaminated, or if it is infected due to the products of the bacteria or the body fumes, anything, so that has to be replaced by the fresh air. So there has to be continuous air movement or the air changes. So to create the healthy and the living conditions, ventilation is also important. So the number of the doors and the windows has to be provided in all types of the building and in the rooms. So depending upon the use of the room, number of doors and the windows has to be decided depending upon the number of the occupants also, and the age of the occupants has to be that factor also has to be considered while deciding the system of the ventilation. So these are the systems such as natural ventilation you have, which is called as the aeration, and second is the mechanical ventilation or the artificial ventilation. So these are the systems of the ventilations. Actually there are different types of the systems. So out of that we are going to see the natural ventilation and the mechanical ventilation. So in the natural ventilation, actually the number of doors and the windows which are provided. So the outside air is supplied into a building through doors and windows, ventilators or any other openings. So minimum quantity of the fresh air has to be supplied to any type of the building. So this system may be employed where precise control over the air's conditions and the rate of the air changes is not required. So the rate of the minimum and the maximum rate of the air changes per hour are 1 and 60. So this type of the ventilation is economical and it can be achieved by the proper position. Whereas in the auditoriums or the shopping malls, this type of the ventilation is not at all feasible. So the rate of the ventilation, it depends upon the two factors, the wind effect and the stack effect. So wind effect, actually the ventilation is affected due to the velocity and the direction of the wind, which depends upon the size and the position of the openings. So here you can see when the wind blows, this is a wind movement. So actually the pressure, there are the pressure differences found. So the pressure differences are found, and on the windward side, positive pressures are developed on the windward side, whereas on the leeward side we have the negative pressures. Whereas on the opposite side you can see there is a section developed over there. So this is roof pitch greater than 30 degrees. So the pitch which is greater than 30 degrees. So let's see when the roof pitch is less than 30 degrees. So the pressure differences, they are created on the positive pressures are created on the windward side, whereas the negative pressures are developed on the leeward side, whereas section is developed on the opposite side. So next is the flat rail. Even in this case, the wind effect will be the same. Positive pressures are developed on the windward side and the negative pressures on the leeward side, and section is developed on the either side. So this is the vent pressure and the suction zones. So next, the movement of the wind through the buildings. When the wind blows through the building, that is the building, it may be of a rectangular shape. So the wind blows. So over there also the pressure differences are developed. So on the windward side, positive pressure is developed, whereas on the leeward side, negative pressure is developed, and suction is developed on the other side. So when the wind blows, the positive pressures are developed on the both the sides of the longer faces of the building. So next is the stack effect. Stack effect, it is due to the temperature differences. It is the ventilation, actually it depends upon the temperature differences, and even it may be due to the vapor pressure differences. So over here, whatever the incoming air it enters into the room, it should be actually warm. It should be cool in summer and warm in winter. So if the velocity of the wind which is blowing, it is more than the room temperature, so in that case, whatever the air is there inside, it should flow away, so that the warmer air from outside, it replaces the room temperature over here. So here you can see through the inlet which is at a lower level, and even this affects due to the height of the room also. The temperature differences are created due to the height of the building also. So over here the inlets are provided at a lower level, whereas the outlets are provided at a higher level of the building. So this is the floor level. So through the inlet, the warmer air will enter into the building to cool the floor, and then the cool air which is outside, it comes into the building through the inlet, and the warm air will flow through the outlet which is provided at a higher level. So next you can see over here also, due to the, if the building is at a height, much height, and there is an outlet provided at the roof level, so over there through the inlet the cool air enters into the building, whereas the warm air which was inside at the floor level, it just rushes out through the outlet provided at the top end. So next you can see the ventilation due to the combined wind action and the stack effect. If both the effects come into existence, so what will be the effect? So the inlet, through the inlet the cool air enters into the room. So whatever the temperature or the warm air is there inside the room, it just rushes out through the outlet which is provided at the top level. So there is a single outlet given over here and there is a single inlet through the at the one corner, and it is provided at a lower level at the floor level. So mechanical ventilation. So following methods of the mechanical ventilation are in common use, that is the exhaust system, second is the supply system, and third is the combination of the exhaust and the supply system, and fourth is the air conditioning. These are the MCQs. So the temperature difference between inside and the outside of a room is not more than, below are the options. Let us see what is the right answer for this. 8 degrees is the right answer. These are the references. Thank you.